Jenna, the Clippers owned it.
Talk to me.
Absolutely owned the last 90 seconds, all but 8/10 of it. That's what it came down to. They owned all but 8/10 of the second. They were playing great. Paul George was playing like a superhero. He was absolutely shaming everyone who'd mocked him as Pandemic P, as Playoff PU, all of that. You mentioned the missed free throws before the final two. He had missed 3, which is unusual for him, but he came back. Wasn't having a great game, but down the stretch, he was awesome. 9 points in the last 2.5 minutes. 6-2 run over a 40-second span that gave them the 1-point lead with 22 seconds left. And then Wilds hit it on the head last segment. Patrick Beverley, he is the utter epitome of love him as a teammate, hate him as an opponent.
Yep.
He was getting on my nerves last night, but he was brilliant. And for him to knock that ball away from Devin Booker, and you heard Mark Jackson on the broadcast, everybody thought it was going to be Suns' ball, but it did go off Booker's hand. Great play by Beverly. So they looked awesome. It was over. Kenny Smith was singing, "It's over, it's over." And then for Paul George to go to the free throw line as an 85% career foul shooter, 89% this postseason, and miss those shots, if you're not a Suns fan, you had to feel for it. Because not only did he write a whole new chapter in the tales of Pandemic P, but it cost them the game. I mean, we're not talking about the terrific, probably the series. We're not talking about the terrific dunk by Deandre Ayton and the pinpoint pass by Jay Crowder, the courageous pick by Devin Booker, who got to have a broken nose, right? And then the masterful play call by Monty Williams. We're talking about none of that if Paul George hits those free throws, and probably even if he hits just one of them. And so the Clippers, man, from hero to GOAT, Paul George, and them as a team, too, he said the right thing afterwards. I'm not going to put too much on it. That's what he's got to tell himself to have any hope of bouncing back. But this is going to be a hard one to come back from.
Well, you're talking about bouncing back. Well, Nick, maybe you can help us out. You're the archivist on this show. You're the historian on this show. You're the mathematician on this show. But to come back from being down 0-2, you have less than a 7% chance. So you did that 2 series in a row, and now you're trying to ask them to do 3. Yeah. I don't know what the numbers are, Nick, but it damn near seems impossible. So these 2 missed free throws is the thing that stands out the most to me.
0.035%, Brandon. Not great.
What is it?
Go ahead.
What is it?
0.035%. Not great. 7% is 7% is 7%. Not great. Not going to have a great chance.
Right. Right, it's not great, and it sucks, and it's absolutely brutal because playoff P turned into playoff P. That was the biggest question around him. Can he perform when the lights are super bright? And he did that when Kawhi went down. We asked for him to just come up with a little bit more. We need more than 20 points. He goes back-to-back games down the stretch, 31 points, and then he had a nice game 1, and all of a sudden you have the game right in your hands, and you miss 2 free throws, and he is right. He's been really good from the free throw line, or excellent from the free throw line his entire career. So you have that. But then that play, man, those are the plays that you draw up, man. I grew up playing basketball. Now, obviously didn't make it to this level, but you have these inbounds plays. You have last play of the game, what are we going to do? And you work on it over and over and over again. Even in football, situational football, you hear about these teams, the Philly special, and then also in New England, we worked on this going back to preseason, and we finally pulled it out in the Super Bowl or in a playoff game, and it absolutely worked. You got 0.9 seconds on the clock, Nick, and then they were able to get it done. Now, to me, there's so much more to talk about in these 90 seconds, but at the end of the day, this was a phenomenal game, and if you're a basketball fan, you have to love it. You have to love it.
That's right.
I'm happy for Ayton. I'm happy the right team won. I am not happy, Wilds, that we evidently work with Broussard and Brandon, 2 utter maniacs, because this is the sports talk equivalent of your house being on fire and you are dealing with a leaky sink. You're like, no, I'll deal with the fire in a moment, but this sink is bothering me. Guys, none of that is the story. The story is the instant replay system in the NBA needs to be burnt to the ground. Let's just go over some things before we get to the Beverly play. Broussard, you played college basketball. You covered the league for 30 years. We just watched an epic Game 7 where I would argue the single biggest factor in who won Bucks Nets in the overtime was fatigue. One guy was totally spent. The other guy, Giannis, had a little bit left.
Right.
Well, do you think that game would have gone different if there had been 31 minutes of stoppages in the overtime like there was in the final 90 seconds? I do. That is altering the result. Brandon just talked about a brilliant play call and play design by Monty Williams. Did he have a timeout left? Of course not. But did he need one? Of course not. Why? Because they were reviewing something they had no need to review, because it is like that if all you are is a hammer, everything's a nail. If you give a referee the option to review it, let's review it. Listen, they're all robots out there. This won't alter what was going to happen. No, of course it will. And then, Broussard, we get to something the day after Christmas. I looked it up. The day after Christmas 2019, you and I yelled at each other about, which was also involving Patrick Beverly, a block on LeBron James, where Beverly blocks LeBron's shot. It's off Beverly. For all of basketball history, that's off Beverly. And through the advent of super slow-mo frame by frame, we're like, oh no, actually, when your shot gets blocked, it rolls off your fingertip last. Which means, if that is how we're going to call that Beverly play, knocking the ball out of bounds, it means not only is all of NBA history wrong, it also means all of current basketball, high school, college, the NBA games outside of the final 2 minutes, all of it is wrong. No, that's not off Beverly. Everyone knows that's off Beverly. It also means, by the way, we must get everything right. Okay, take it to its furthest logical conclusion. Can we show the Ayton play again? Because I can count 6 fouls. Poor Zubats gets his jersey grabbed, pulled, he gets hit. You got Campaign in the post-game interview being like, well, the refs aren't really calling it. No, get it right. Review it all. Is that a foul? Is that a foul? I think those are all fouls. Guys, this isn't getting it right. It's altering results. The Pat Beverly play, it's unfathomable that you're going to start saying that's off the offensive player. That is not how basketball is played. The rules, Broussard, are fungible. You can change them. Change it today. I write it however you need to write it. That, you know what? If a player causes the ball to go out of bounds, if that is the force of the ball, it's out on that player. There you go. Fixed it. And that way people can stop hiding behind, technically they got it right. No, they didn't. It's bad for the game. It's bad for it, Broussard. You know it, I know it. That's off Beverly.
Okay, Jeff Van Gundy Jr. Stop it. All
He's right.
No, it's not. Look, they got it right. It clearly was off Devin Booker's hand. It was. And the bottom line is technology makes things better. You just went too far, Nick.
No, it doesn't.
You made some good points. Monty Williams did get an extra timeout because of it. I give you that. And he was able to draw up that play. But you took it too far. To just say let's eliminate it in the last few minutes, you know what? That Kevin Durant three-pointer or 22
they called it a 2 on the court.
7.5-footer. In a lot of cases, it could have easily been called a 3 without instant replay. They got it right that time, but there are many cases throughout history where they probably got things wrong. So every play in high school, pro, history is wrong. No. You're going too far.
But
I'm not sitting here upset that they got that call right.
Hold on. But they didn't get it right. They absolutely didn't get it right. But Wilds, the
who
Durant
touched
play,
it last?
I don't care. That's off Beverly. I actually don't care. That is off Beverly. That's not how I. That's not how I define it.
You're just flat out wrong.
And that's not how basketball has defined it. That's not. Okay, then Naismith was wrong when he created the sport. But Brandon, the Durant thing we could have seen in real time. If you want to have instant replay at full speed, you got 10 seconds to fix an egregious mistake, fine. You don't need frame by frame, 6-minute stoppages to fix egregious mistakes.
Well, here's the deal. Here's what you're saying, right? It's like, it's not about replay. You're talking more about strategy. And so much of sports is about strategy, Chris. And so there's a lot of validity behind what behind what Nick is saying. When you're in a game and you're talking about situational basketball, situational football, and you can have extra time to kind of scheme up stuff, that does mess up the game a little bit. But Nick, you got to decide. But you have to decide, Nick, if you want to be this, old school guy, or if you want to be young and innovative. Because replay is here and it's not going anywhere. And if you're going to have replay, Nick, you have to be able to say, you know what? Let's look at different angles. Let's slow it up. So you're in the bind here, buddy, but you have to decide which one to be. And when we talk football, please don't. I don't want to hear any more wilds. I don't want to hear, oh, Brandon, the old guy, why are the guys dancing? Because that's what you sound like right now when we're talking basketball and replay.
Go ahead, Wild.
Okay. Let me defend Nick.
You just went too far.
No, but he's got a point, Broussard. If you and I were playing basketball at House of Athlete on the hoop that's 9-6, and I was like, Brandon, can you raise it to 10? He's like, no, I like it at 9-6. So, and I'm playing defense on you, and I'm basically playing Patrick Beverley's character, and you're Devin Booker, and I hit the ball out, and you're like, my ball. I'm like, no, actually, Broussard. Actually, if we had a replay here, your fingernail touched it last. You wouldn't allow me to have the ball. You would be like, you hit it out, Wilds. So it is a point. There's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. The compromise, I think that Nick had it right, is to put a time limit on the replay. Because we can go and analyze things by each atom, each molecule as technology gets better and better. But if you say, hey, you know what? It addresses the fatigue factor. It addresses giving someone an additional timeout. You get 30 seconds in replay. If you can't get it done in 30 seconds, the call stands on the floor. Would you buy that, Broussard?
Well, first of all, Wiles, we wouldn't have proof at the House of Athlete unless there's instant replay there for pickup games, all right? So that would be the problem. But look, Nick made a great point. I agree that Monty Williams doesn't get that timeout to call that great play if they don't review this. I wouldn't have made a noise if they don't review it and they just give the ball to the Suns. But the problem is this. Nick, you went too far. When you start talking about the history of the game and let's call every foul, and there's holding here, there were 6 fouls on Ayton's dunk. That's all. You just went way too far. It's an unfortunate situation,
I'm letting
but
you
nothing
know,
needs to be changed.
Broussard, I'm letting you know, in 20 years when you and I are doing television together and you somehow look the exact same age you look right now and I look terrible, and all of a sudden instant replay has metastasized into reviewing every potential foul, reviewing every potential travel. Nick. It's because of this. It grows and grows and grows until it's an unkillable monster. And you're like, no, that has to be. It's a damn, we're turning the end of basketball games into Schrodinger's cat, and I can't stand it. I can't.
Nick, I just got a text. I just got a text from your best friend, Michael Rappaport. He said, Nick, please. That's what he texted me. Nick, please, stop it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.